this isn't going to just go away like some cold. He needs to learn to live with it. You both do.
Just because you have Chinese face is not mean you're understanding us.
This film is based on a true story. When you do films like that, do you feel a sense of responsibility to the people you're depicting, knowing that you're telling their story?
I do. I mean, I think the sense of responsibility really is also the idea of making sure that this character is as authentic as possible and, part of the community that I come from.
Mm.
So, that is the biggest, the weight that I carry for that in terms of this character of Irene for Rosemead.
In doing my Lucy Liu Film Festival, one of the things I've appreciated across all the things I've watched is when you enter a scene, you always take command of it. I always find myself instantly drawn to what you're doing because you have such a command. Here, it's interesting because you're restraining yourself. You're smaller. You make yourself diminished in a way, and I wonder how you played that physicality. If that was something that you enjoyed exploring in this particular role.
I think the language and the the English was
Mm.
a way to start to break down some of her um inwardness and the sort of the silence and the emotional interiority of how she kept everything close was also a way to bring that physical fragility to the character, not just because of her condition, but also as you saw the movie go on, the deterioration of that was important to know that there was the urgency of time and her fear sort of fed into that and then created this, I guess, this ticking bomb.
儿子，你听妈咪，遇到什么不合理的，你要仔细想一想。
You mentioned the voice, and that's so key to your portrayal as well. How did you find that voice? How long did it take you to settle on what Irene's voice would be?
That took the most time, really, to really break down the dialogue and to break down each word to make sure that it symbolized the actual translation in the script, and then taking the English and making sure that that was also, broken down because the conjugation would not be the same, because in Chinese you don't necessarily conjugate the verb. You also don't necessarily differentiate feminine from masculine. So there's no gender in that either. So there's a lot of confusion, but the point of it would be there, but it would not be in the same, it wouldn't be just, I'm eating lunch and it sounds like that, but it's in broken English. It has to be very specific and the words have to be reversed or moved around or conjugated incorrectly, so that it gives an authenticity to the character and it also gives her the ability for the audience to move into herself, into her what she's trying to voice. And I think there becomes a porousness when you hear somebody speaking not perfectly.
Right. Absolutely. Not to spoil the ending, but the last scene finds Irene making an almost biblical choice. I think it's safe to say it's a really powerful moment. Tell me about how you prepared for that scene, and if it was a scene that you were nervous about before you had to do that moment.
It's so funny because I didn't really think about that scene
Mhm.
until I had to do it. The only thing that I had requested was, can we do that scene last?
Mm.
Let's just, because it was going to be on location in California and we only had 3 days to shoot in California because that's all we had for budget. And we were like, okay, we're going to do it there, but let's make sure, because we were supposed to do it in New York originally. And then they were like, we need it's too claustrophobic. The movie's too claustrophobic. So we had that beach scene, which we had, thank goodness. And then, this scene. And in the end, they were not able to shoot it for the last scene because of logistics. Um, I think I didn't think about it until I had to do it. And then when I did, I walked into the room and then I walked back out of the room, but I was like running.
Mhm.
I was like running in this motel, like up and down the stairs, and like I was like almost out of my mind. And then when I did it, it happened and it was it. We did one take. But
Wow.
before that moment, it like I walked in and I knew I wasn't ready. So I left.
Mhm.
So I think she probably wasn't even ready for what she wanted to do. And it was an impossible choice. And she felt it was the only choice. And that's what's so crazy about this story.
Right.
That there were other options, obviously, but she just did not know and could not advocate for herself or for her son.
That reaction is so intense. Has anything ever happened to you like that in your career before, where you've had that moment where like, I can't do this scene. I need to leave. I physically need to leave this set.
I can't remember. I mean, there's moments where I go in and I mean, because the set was actually the room. It was an actual motel room, where I knew I had to stop and go back, but I hadn't even started yet.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So I walked in and I thought this is, um, I knew physically that I was still here. So I needed to be emotionally somewhere completely different. Right. So even though I was physically standing in the space with the props, I was not emotionally there. And the emotional there-ness, if I may, had to be like she wasn't there. Because when you're kind of like when they say, this person was out of their mind, I think they're doing something, but they are almost, you know, I guess the word is when you're, dissociated,
Mm.
right? So I was not dissociated enough to do the scene.
Right.
I was really like, I'm here. I feel the heat of the room. I was too aware. Like I could feel my senses were really heightened and I needed them to be like abolished.
Right.
Where I didn't like I could almost when people have like amnesia or when they like have a blackout, it almost had to be to the point of right to that extension where you're, on the line of reality and I guess blacking out.
That's amazing. And you only, and it's only the one take. So you did that one. So the one take that's in the film is
That
the
was
one take
it.
you did. Wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
No, incredible ending to the movie.